pocket?
The way I see it is we suck tonight. We have to learn the lessons. And we have one game for everything we've worked for. And so do they. And the better team Sunday will win.
Second row, Michael.
Shay, Michael Grange from Sportsnet in Toronto. You've been under pressure this whole series from them defensively. Tonight they were able to get into the ball with more success, I guess, than they've had. Did they do anything different? The turnover numbers for you were unusually high. Any explanation?
Yeah, I don't even know. They just turned us over a bunch. They didn't pressure full court like they have been, which led to more turnovers. I didn't expect that, but whatever it is, they did it right. And if we want to win on Sunday, we got to take care of the ball. Moral of the story.
Second row on the right, Malika.
Over here, Malika Andrews, ESPN. I'm going to follow up on that real quick and then a different question. But they picked you up just much higher than they had been. They were picking you up by like 60 feet in the first 5 games and from 39-ish feet today. Did you feel that difference? Was that maybe part of it that led to that?
They were definitely lower on the pickups. I'm not sure. Some of them I think was just like carelessness and not being focused, not being as engaged. They played harder than us tonight as well, and when a team plays harder, they usually turn the other team over. So it's probably a combination of multiple things.
The NBA Finals versus the second round, but this series has so many similarities to the Denver series. The other team goes up 2-1. This sort of Game 6 letdown. Can you learn anything from your punch back there that you can apply here?
Yeah, I think the way we felt in that series was it's a 3-3 series, 0-0. You have one game to advance, and the better team will win. And I think it's the exact same thing. Everything that's happened in the series, you try to learn from, and you try to put it all together for one night and see where it takes you.
Third row, Tim.
Shay, did you guys, you individually, did you feel the weight of the chance to clinch a championship tonight?
Definitely in the back of our minds, for sure. No, we didn't play like it at all, and that's why the night went the way it did. We got exactly what we deserved, what we earned, and we have to own that.
Mark Spears, ESPN Landscape. Shay, you played in one and out NCAA tournament games, Olympics. What is this like? Can that time help you at all, learning from that, and also being who you are? Do you feel like you have to put a cape on to ensure the championship?
Yeah, all those experiences help me for sure. The one and done experiences, do or die games. There's lessons from every game, but those games in particular for sure are going to help. And I don't feel like I have to do anything other than just be the best version of myself. And I think that goes for everyone else in the room. We just have to bring what we bring to the table, what we've brought to the table all year, and bring it at our best come Sunday.
First row here, Jenny.
Hey, Shay. Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. Take me onto that bench in the fourth quarter. You haven't sat a lot of fourth quarters in situations like tonight where you guys are losing. What's sort of going through your mind, and how does that time you're on the bench in the fourth go, just mentally how you're processing things?
Thinking about what you could have did better or what I could have did better tonight. Also, watching the group on the floor was impressive. They were great. They haven't played all series, and then they go out there and play as hard as they did. It was inspiring, and they were really good tonight. Kind of taught me a lesson. And then just trying to do everything I can learn from to get ready for the next game.
First question here, right here on the right, Joel.
Joel Energy with Oklahoma. And Shay, a little bit of a two-parter. I think the broadcast caught you saying that Sunday's for all the marbles. I wonder how you're viewing this opportunity and sort of the weight of it.
It's one game for everything you ever dreamed of. If you win it, you get everything. If you lose it, you get nothing. And it's that simple.
Are you sensing any differences in the difficulty of closing out a finals versus closing out any other playoff series?
No, I see it as the same thing. Like in round 2, if we had lost, I would have been just as disappointed. We would have went home and our season would have been over. And if we lose, the season's over in the wrong way. So either way, I would have been extremely disappointed. So I don't think it's much different.
Thank you.
Jalen, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. The turnovers tonight, uncharacteristic for you guys to lose that turnover battle. What sort of contributed to that? Shea had a bunch. You had more than normal. It just felt like everybody was just not taking care of the ball very well.
It just got sticky. I feel like when our defense wasn't very good, and when you're constantly taking the ball out and you're playing against a set defense over and over again, that's part of it. Other part, we didn't do a good job trusting each other to make the next play, like we did Game 5. So we'll look at some things. Obviously, they made a couple adjustments, so we'll look at that too. But a lot of it was, just not trusting each other to make the right plays, and that starts with me being better, figuring out different ways to get my teammates involved and stuff like that. So the good news is we have another game to figure it out.
First row, Joel.
Joel Lorenz with the Oklahoman. A little bit of a two-parter. You guys have talked a lot about the human elements of these games. I wonder, at any point did sort of the human element of knowing you had a Game 7 creep in, and what did you sort of learn today about how different it might feel to close a finals versus closing any other series?
No, the human element, well, I can't speak for my whole team, but the human element didn't creep in for me until we got blown out. So I didn't start thinking about Game 7 until we walked off the floor, or really when the game was kind of out of reach. But I think we had the right mindset coming into it. I think there was different things that we didn't do in the game well that hurt us. But closing out in the finals is different from playoff game because it's the end of the season. You know what I mean? And you play for so long that it just has more weight to it. Obviously, you want to win a championship, and you don't want it to feel like it was all for nothing. So that's been the biggest difference between closing out now as opposed to a Denver series or Minnesota. And I feel like they probably felt that way too. For them being down 3-2, knowing that your season's on the line and you're in the finals, just has more weight to it.
Second row on the right, Malika.
J-Dub, you and I spoke a couple of days ago about the feeling of having expectations and then not meeting them that you all had, for example, last season. And now it's coming down to one game, winner take all. It's why you play, but does that thought of not having that same feeling again now start to creep in, knowing it's 0-0 again, essentially, in this series?
Yeah, that feeling has never really left for me. Again, I don't want to speak for the whole team. That's the human part of, playing a sport, is everybody's going to feel some type of way. But I've definitely had that feeling. The whole year, I've had that feeling in December. You work really hard in the summer to get better at things, and when they don't come to light the way you want to, it's kind of easy to get off track and feel sorry for yourself. But at the same time, I try and be where my feet are. I'm in the NBA Finals at 24 years old in year 3. So I always try and keep that into perspective, and I'm just going to go into this next game and try and play hard and play better than what I did tonight. And wherever the chips fall, they fall. But I'm not going to go after this game and think I didn't play hard, or whatever the case may be. Just relishing the opportunity.
Last question, Barry.
Barry Trammell, Tulsa World. It's no crime to lose a Game 6 on the road, Jalen. But to lose like this, is there a concern that you emboldened the Pacers and gave them even more confidence for a tough road Game 7 on the road?
That probably has something to do with it a little bit. If they would have won by 1, they probably would have walked out of this game with confidence. You know what I mean? And that's what makes them a good team. That's what makes us a good team, is we both play to our identity regardless of what's going on. So, they're going to go into Game 7 and confident, and so are we.
Thank you, Jalen.
That's it.
All right, first question, we'll start with Jenny, front row.
Hey, Chet, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. Felt like even early on, you guys, turnovers, just kind of out of sorts. What got you guys off track and had sort of an uncharacteristic performance tonight?
I don't think it was one factor, but no matter what it is, we have to be better at kind of course correcting, getting ourselves back on the right track. I personally myself could be better. Trying to help us get things going in the right way. So we're going to watch the film and see where we can be better. And at the end of the day, we still have a great opportunity, Game 7. We have to come out and execute.
First row, middle, Barry.
Yeah, Barry Trammell, Tulsa World. Chet, what's the explanation for a game like that where literally nothing went right or worked for you?
Again, I don't think it's a one-sentence answer or one-word answer. But at the end of the day, no matter there really is no explanation. There's no excuse. We have to be better. We have to execute better. From top to bottom, myself included. And I'm gonna look and see where I can be better, and do my best to execute in Game 7 coming up.
First row here, Joe.
Joe Masato, the Oklahoman. Chet, how do you guys as a team balance the disappointment of not closing it out tonight versus knowing that you do have that Game 7 to fall back on?
Sorry, just trying to cut the emotion out of it. Obviously, that's frustrating. It's not fun. Nobody's happy right now. But you can't let the emotions kind of sidetrack you from what we need to do leading up to and during the game coming up. We've had wins and losses throughout the playoffs, so it's kind of similar mentality. Turn the page, don't forget what just happened, but see where you can be better, and then try and apply it going forward.
Second row, middle.
Justin Martinez of the Oklahoman. Chet, for a series that's had such drastic swings in momentum, just how valuable is it to have this Game 7 at home in front of the crowd?
Obviously, it's a great opportunity. There's only – you could ask every team in the NBA, every team would take this opportunity, take this chance, and, we're no different, and it's on us to go out there and make the most of it.
First row, Joel.
Joel Lorenzi, the Oklahoma. Chet, obviously you guys through this playoff run have had so many different, unique and new experiences. What did you sort of learn about the difficulties of closing out a finals?
I'd say it's very similar to a closeout game in any series. No team's just going to roll over and go home. It's going to be really physical. There's not going to be any favors from the officiating. There's, it's really, you have to make it happen. It's not going to happen by accident. So, we have to learn the lesson from tonight and come back and be better.
Thank you, Chet.
What do you see out of him and just why he kind of seemed to get off track tonight?
Yeah, I think that's the word from our standpoint. First of all, credit Indiana. I thought they obviously earned the win. They outplayed us for most of the 48 minutes, and that's the story of the game. They went out there and attacked the game. From our standpoint, it was uncharacteristic. It was disappointing, but it was collective. It wasn't one guy. We were not where we needed to be on either end of the floor for much of the game, and we have to be a lot better, before Game 7.
First row, Joel.
Joel Lorenzi with the Oklahoma. Mark, I think the figure I saw was that the 60 points you had leading into the fourth was the fewest you've had in a game through three quarters all season. Sort of, what did you feel was lacking, especially stylistically and competitively on offense, and were there moments that you thought you should have capitalized on?
I'll look at it. Obviously it was a very poor performance by us, but there's two teams out there. I want to give Indiana credit for the way they defended, the way they competed in the game, the way they played all the way around. They had a lot to do with it. And there was stuff that I thought we could have controlled that could have been better. So we have to own that. We'll look at it. We'll learn from it like we always do. And then we got to obviously be much better going into Game 7.
Front row, Barry.
Yeah, Barry Trammell, Tulsa World. You actually outshot them in the first half, and you're getting beat 22. Is that a sign that just everything else, you played with no force or no will or whatever the word might be?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the turnovers in the first half, that's uncharacteristic for us to turn it over like that. That led to fast break points. I thought that's what ignited them. And a lot of it was an offensive issue, tonight, and especially in the first half. I just thought we were really stagnant. I thought some of that was, like I said, the way Indiana played. There's two teams out there, and they deserve a lot of credit for how they played tonight. So we'll look at it, learn from it, figure out what we need to do to be better, and we got to go out there and execute it in Game 7.
Fourth row on the right, David.
Mark, I know you know this, and I know your players know this, but is it in any way instructive to them, being a young team that has never had a chance to clinch a championship before, to see how incredibly hard it is to win a fourth game to win an NBA championship?
It was hard tonight. Indiana was great, and we were not. So we have the same opportunity Indiana does on Sunday. Score will be 0-0 when the ball goes up in the air. It's a privilege to play in Game 7s. It's a privilege to play in the finals. As disappointing as tonight was, we're grateful for the opportunity. And we put in a lot of work this season to be able to play that game at home, which is exciting to be able to do it in front of our fans. So, obviously disappointed tonight, but we'll regroup, get back to 0, learn from it with clear eyes like we always do, get ourselves as ready as we can be to play Game 7 on Sunday.
First row, third seat in.
Joe Masato, the Oklahoman. Mark, when Indiana was going on kind of an extended run after you guys took an early lead in the first quarter, looked like maybe there was moments where you could have called timeout. I know that didn't end up having any bearing on the game, but was that you sort of maybe waiting for your guys to show something, or kind of didn't want to give in to the crowd, or what Indy was doing?
I mean, the timeout thing's an art. You get I use 5 of them before the 7-minute mark of the third, so you don't get an unlimited number. And we have to have the ability to play through some things. I thought I tried to stop the play when I could, but all the way around, we just weren't where we needed to be tonight. But our ability to course correct in game is important. We've done that well. We have to do that in these games, 48-minute game.
I think you guys were 1 of 11 from 3 in the first half, and I'm not sure you even had a corner 3. And that's happened a few times in this series. How concerning is not only the lack of accuracy, but volume of threes at certain points of this series?
Yeah, it's definitely been an issue in some of these games. Game 4 comes to mind. I think we got 17 in that game. Thought we found some things in Game 5. And I thought they did a really good job on us tonight. I thought the low volume and the accuracy was reflective of the way they guarded us and our inability to create a rhythm against that, the way that we've been able to do in some of the other games. So we'll look at it, learn from it. We obviously have to be a lot better on Sunday if we want to win the game.
Last question, first row.
Joseph Pavone, clutch points. Just the beginning of that second half, offensively, I mean, you went 0 for 5 from 3. Had a chance to regroup there. What did you see go wrong in the sense of, your offense throughout that second half, just from the third quarter to the end of or heading into the fourth?
Yeah, I mean, as disappointing as the first half was, the game is in striking distance at that point. If you come out and you throw the first punch, and we strung together some stops. I mean, I think it was 2-0 at the first time out, so it wasn't a defensive issue. But I just thought the offense all night was a click slow. Again, Indiana played great. They deserved to win. They had a lot to do with that, so not discrediting them at all. But we also have to look in the mirror, learn from the game, be a lot better on Sunday.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.